What's good, homies? Welcome back to Retro Rewind, a series where I go back and play old games to see how they stand against today's standards. Everyone knows special agents are cool, but do you know what's cooler? A special agent with psychic abilities. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a pretty slept-on game called Psychonauts. This game is a platformer collectathon originally released on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox in 2005, but it's also available on modern consoles as well as PC. I finally came back to finish this game after remembering that they actually made a Psychonauts 2, and I'm very glad that I did. I actually like this game so much, I even 100% completed it. So let's take a look and see why I think more people should be psycho for Psychonauts.
Not another tracking device!
So I'll be the first to admit that Psychonauts has a pretty dry story. Basically, a kid at a Psychonauts summer camp discovers that someone is stealing the brains of the other children to power destructive weapons. The plot is pretty bare bones and predictable, but that is okay, because the characters and writing well make up for it. You play as Rasputin, a gypsy from the circus that dreams of becoming a psychonaut, and is horribly afraid of water. Raz is pretty much your basic protagonist. He has a heart of gold and always means well. The side characters are what I really enjoy. They are all so one-dimensional, but they capture all the stereotypes you need for a summer camp movie, like the love interest,
Oh my god! Let's make out!
What?
the crazy counselor,
If you ever want to make me appear, you can do it with this special device.
Is that a piece of bacon?
and the camp bully.
Hey Bobby, someone's stealing kids' brains.
Well, in that case, you've got nothing to worry about.
With wacky characters comes wacky writing, and goddamn, this game has some good jokes. But honestly, the writing and humor is kinda super stupid, but it's purposefully stupid, so you know the game doesn't take itself too seriously. There are a few lines that are just on their own level. Seriously, I was surprised to hear these in a game targeted towards kids. The bully straight up calls the Russian kid a commie.
As repayment for courtesy, bullying now forbidden. All bullies acknowledge, please.
Get bent, commie.
My favorite out-of-pocket line happens when you light a bird on fire with pyrokinesis.
See you in hell.
For the most part, the game is filled with these silly dumb jokes, but there are a few sections that kinda get super creepy. In Agent Milla's level, if you take the time to explore one of the party rooms, you'll find a little room with some empty chairs and a memory vault. This vault shows Milla's memories of working at an orphanage, and one night while getting groceries, the place burnt down with the children inside. This itself is pretty dark compared to the rest of the game, but we're not done yet. If you then open the chest and jump inside, you get transported to a locked area with fire and nightmares all around the outside. They're all whispering things like, obviously relating to the children that died in the fire. Now, you gotta remember, this is a kids game, and it wouldn't be a good kids game without some nightmare fuel. But seriously, these little hidden details add to the lore of Psychonauts, and kinda just make the game more interesting for more mature players. I can't go on without talking about the art style. It kinda looks like a mixture between Tim Burton and like a 90s Nick cartoon, kinda like Rugrats. I can totally see people thinking the game is hella ugly, but to me, the unique style adds to the personality of the game, and has kind of a nostalgic taste. The quality may have not aged too well, but I think the style is something like no other. The gameplay is very important for a platformer. The story and characters don't really matter if it's not fun to move around the level, and I came to the conclusion that Psychonauts is fun. I don't really know how to explain it, but the gameplay is fun. Nothing more, nothing less. In general, the game controls pretty well. I only played with a controller, so I'm not sure how it handles on keyboard, but I'd imagine that most people playing this would go for a controller anyways. One of my only real complaints about the controls is that everything feels kind of slow and floaty. Personally, I prefer something with a bit more weight and momentum, but honestly, that's just a nitpick. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of double jumps in platformers. They kind of just make everything easy. If you mess up on a jump, you can just jump again. Along with the double jump, you get a bunch of psychic powers at your disposal. You can shoot mind beams, you can levitate, you can use telekinesis, pyrokinesis, and there's like a bunch of different other ones. Some are more used than others though, which is kind of a letdown, because there are some really cool powers that you get later in the game. My favorite power was probably levitation, just because it allows you to move a little bit faster, and you get to jump further. For me, the platforming is a bit above average, and the abilities are at a good starting point, but what really makes the game for me are the levels. Each level takes place inside of another character's head, and oftentimes, the character has a little something wrong with them.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious. Special delivery today.
They all have their own unique style, and are quite fun to explore. In one level, you help a guy with anger issues get over his high school sweetheart. In another, you're a giant that wreaks havoc on a city of fish, essentially becoming Godzilla. No two levels feel the same, which is a really good thing when it comes to a platformer. Inside each level are collectibles. There are figments of imagination, which are scattered across the entire level, but the cooler stuff is the emotional baggage and vaults. The memory vaults reveal deep memories of the person's past, which provides context to why their minds look the way they do. For example, the coach's level is like a war zone boot camp, showing that he's a retired military soldier. I really think this is a cool collectible, as it provides some backstory for the characters, giving it more weight than some random gold object. Now, speaking of collectibles, I will say that I do not think it's worth getting every single one. The mental webs, the vaults, the baggage, they're all well and good, but it can get super annoying trying to track down all the figments. I had to look up a guide for them, and when I mean a guide, I mean a 2008 GameFAQs forum, since I could not find anything else. I 100% completed the game, so that means I got every figment, web, baggage, and vault in the levels, as well as getting all the psi markers, cards, brains, and scavenger hunt items in the overworld. Along with this, I also got every psychic ability, as well as reached Psychic Rank 101. On top of this, I unlocked every achievement. After doing all of this, I can say that it's not really worth the effort, mainly because of the reward. It isn't too difficult, as most of the collectibles are found along the way, but the real trouble comes with the figments. It isn't too fun going back to a level to hunt for 2 or 3 figments that you missed, especially because they can be pretty tough to spot. Also, the reward is super lackluster. All you get for the grind is a special cutscene at the end that you could easily look up on YouTube. Even if you were playing this back in the day, the cutscene was like 30 seconds, and it was kinda really stupid.
I haven't seen you in ages. You look so different.
Yeah, I've put on a little weight.
Oh, you know I don't mind that one bit.
Besides that, I think this is a pretty solid platformer. I enjoy the idea of being a psychic agent trainee, and the weirdness of the art style and story make it a very charming and unique experience. The side characters are enjoyable, and the level design is fantastic, though the platforming itself leaves a bit to be desired. I like this game a lot, and I do recommend giving it a play. Though the game is pretty slept on, it's nice to play something that isn't a big name. Psychonauts is a great game to play if you want a short and sweet experience that has a little bit of spice you don't see too often anymore. If you want something to lose your mind over, Psychonauts is your game. Did you enjoy this video? Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Retro Rewind. Leave a comment of what game you want me to play and review next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you homies next time.